ropes it off. A flying tackle by Anna Dropkick.
10 pounds of pure love.
Gotta hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm the rich.
Gotta be the best of them. It's more to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19...
That was pretty hard, and look at what he's gonna work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time, and thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Billy Corgan's NWA here on TEW 2020. We had a pretty good show. I always say that though, but it's true because each show we have is pretty good. It's not as great as the last one we did though, which ended up 60, but we had a pretty good story-based one. We got to learn a little bit about some of our other wrestlers that we have with our pre-shows. Riho and Thea Trinidad looking good and promising for our women's division, which is very exciting. In addition to that, we had some interesting story beats. Ricky Starks finally turned on Eddie Kingston and possibly the Kingdom. And there's going to be some blow off of that, which means that Samoa Joe is the number one contender at My Vicious Valentine, a hard competitor for Pillman to overcome. So, going to be pretty cool. We got some build-up with King Mo versus Levi Cooper, Big Rig, we're calling him. And we got Madison Eagles as a number one contender against Kimberly. So, yeah, we got some stuff going on. Oh, and also a mysterious ghost of a man appearing in the rafters. That's definitely definitely Tommy End, looking at the not a cult leader of Boden, Austin Taylor. So, good story beats. We did a little bit of stuff behind the scenes. I did go through with changing our product to modern throwback. We'll see how it affects the actual running of the show, better or worse. I'm not really sure if it's going to hurt us in the long term or help us, but I think either way, it may be a little bit more realistic of what the show is. It also benefits work rate a little bit more, which I'm excited about because I think that might help some of our wrestlers. It does heavily penalize sex appeal, so we won't be able to cheat with our women's wrestlers anymore, which is probably for the best overall. Now, we were also talking about maybe buying Sendai or I should say 0-1. 0-1 though is looking substantially in the hole. I don't know if I'm willing to invest $200,000. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of wait on this one and wait until the end of the month and see if they regain some of their losses. And if they regain some of their losses, we might do it. Sendai is not as expensive and looking a little bit more promising, though, you know, I don't know if it necessarily fits us, but we already have a excursion with them, so it would not be the end of the world. But I'm just kind of looking at it as a potential investment for money making right now. Same thing, like I wouldn't hate buying Championship Wrestling, though. Right now we would have to do a hostile takeover to do it, though they would be more expensive, but they would be folded into us as a company, which would be helpful, which would be nice. I also, in a previous episode, on our backstage episode, let go some people. Not a lot, just a few that we weren't using. And I have a problem, and I decided to negotiate like 6 more positions for people. They're all people that I noticed that were either unemployed or floating around that could be useful and I think would be interesting. So we'll see them pop up as the negotiations and the contracts come into play. But some of them are just short-term people that I just wanted to get a few extra people. I'm noticing that we have a bit of a problem on our roster. Two major problems right now. Right now, biggest problem number 1 is potentially fixable internally, is that we just really don't have a lot of faces. So if we were to look at just wrestlers, there we go. Aleister Black, technically a babyface right now, but could easily turn into a heel. Colt Cabana, Delilah Doom, Dana Perusa, who really shouldn't be, but Dickie Mayer, who's an enhancement talent, Eli Drake, who's on leave, Jason Cade, who's an enhancement talent, Kimberly, who is going to leave us in a couple days, Levi Cooper in the mid-card, Laredo Kid in our tag team division, the Von Erichs in our tag team division, Matt Cross, who's a lower mid-carder, Mickey James, Miro? That seems wrong to me, but can we switch them? Last term wasn't long ago, and chance would technically affect them. So we've flipped them here and there. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but we don't really have a major face main eventer. Eddie would be kind of close, but he's technically like a tweener. I guess Miro could be a tweener too, but I really wouldn't consider Miro as a face. I think that's probably wrong. So we definitely have a problem on our roster of just not having a lot of faces, having a lot more heels. You do want more heels than faces. It's just sort of the nature of the business. Is there anybody that's turning? Danhausen is technically heel, but should turn to face, as should Warhorse. But again, not really relevant for our main event scene. Any face that's turning, no. And we instead have a ton of heels. Ace Austin, who I don't ever see turning face. Enzo and Big Cass could go either way. Boden Austin Taylor is pretty much always going to be a heel. Pillman will be a heel and will probably leave eventually. Eddie Kingston could change, but we've done this so often at this point. We might do it anyways and say whatever. Heidi Lovelace is a heel. Homicide, Jarek, King Mo is a heel right now. So we got a lot of heels. Nick Aldis can play both, but it's better as a heel. Ricky Starks is a heel right now. Right, so we got a problem here. So we got to find a good top face for us, either within that within our current roster, or outside of it. Now, I'm negotiating with a few new people. Not really any faces. So I'll let you guys see who we got going on here. Brian Cage is unemployed right now, and I put him on a if he accepts, will be on a short-term contract. Darren Young will be a face, but is going to be in our tag team division. Ron Killings is unemployed, but will probably come back as a heel. Max Stardom's going to be in our lower mid card, and then Chris Hero will probably be a face, as available for us, but I don't necessarily consider him a main eventer. So we would definitely have a problem with our main event scene of not having a believable face that could challenge for the title. Like Ace Austin might technically be the closest, but at best he's a tweener. I would never make him a babyface. So let me know what you guys think of who maybe we should turn face in a story, or who's out there that would be interesting. Our main event scene is about, looking at popularity, 52. So if we were to look at this real quick, we could see who's out and about in the world here. Let's take a look. I need someone that can work here, that's a wrestler, that popularity is, let's say, 47, and to hire, can work in any. That's fine, because we're going to have someone that's to hire here. And male for now, because our male division is really the area that's struggling here. Okay. Oh, also, our should be in U.S. popularity. Okay, Dalton Castle is a heel. Buddy Murphy. Again, I consider them, like, I would consider him more as a heel wrestler. If you guys got a really interesting gimmick for him, I'll be willing to hear it. But Brock Lesnar, we can't get. Goldberg. Angelico is definitely a heel. Tyler Bate is in NXT, can't be gotten. Sami Callihan is written on Impact, so we can't get him. Stephen Amell is popular, but not a good wrestler. Matt Seidel's more of a heel. We can't get Andrade, and he'd be a heel anyways. Jordan Devlin would be a heel, but he's in NXT. Moxley's written in AEW. Havoc is still in AEW, but will be a heel. Hardy, Phoenix. So this is our issue here: is that there's not a lot of strong faces that we really can pull from innately. Like there really isn't anybody that would be Eddie Edwards, but written in Impact, so we can't get him anyways. I don't know why they're not showing up. Eric Rowan won't join us. EC3 could be gotten, but really is more of a heel. Icarus is a heel. James Storm can play both. It's potentially an option. Yeah, this is sort of the issue here. Marco Stunt, Marty Scurll. Moose is only in a handshake deal. Interesting. Do I have him shortlisted already? Okay, good. I'll leave it to you guys what we're thinking here. That he would definitely be a main eventer for us. Definitely could be a face. Nick Gage is definitely a face. I don't know if he fits the brand though. Willie Mack can be both. Zack Ryder would be a face, but so we're running into the issue of just limited availability. So who out there do you feel would be a good main eventer that's a face? Who on our roster would be a good main eventer that we could switch over and make him a face? And why is it Tim Storm? Should we bring him out of retirement? Can we bring him out of retirement? Will Tim Storm accept a... Will Tim Storm come out of retirement for us? Come on. Perhaps it's time to come out of retirement. What do you say? I'm not willing. One day we'll get you back. We'll make Mama Storm proud before she dies. Okay. We got a show. We got a lot of hiring to bring in. But we have 2 more powers before... not Vicious Valentine, Spring Stampede. So we got a little bit of build to do, but I think we kind of know where we're going. So let's go ahead and let's get over to the next show. Okay, so we are in the loft, which we don't want to be. We want to be in our GBA arena. 773 fans. So it looks like our changing to our ticket sales as well as our product isn't really affecting us too much. I know one of the things about a modern throwback is that you're heavily affected by the change of the industry. So for us here, being in the wrestling industry area, it's rising's very good. But if we were in an area that maybe it's not, which right now everything's rising everywhere, it looks like, we would be in a bad shape. So is there nowhere that's not rising? Quebec. Okay, well, I can't show you one to find an example, apparently, because everywhere is rising right now. So, except for Australia and India, which we deactivated. So, who knows? But we would be heavily affected by the trends of that. That's always true. It's a little bit just doubly true for us. So, something that we have to keep in mind. And we have no backstage incidents, which is interesting. We can try to produce a rib or a medal of some sort. We're going to try to medal. I'm going to try to get Zicky Dice and see if there's anybody that would be... So Zicky Dice has Driven. Extremely unlikely. I'm going to go down the line and see if there's anything that's failing Failing. It's like there's no chance of anything. Has a reasonable chance of succeeding and creating a strong friendship between the two of them. They're both driven. And no effect. Okay, well. Oh well. It's always nice to have extra friendships if possible, but not necessarily necessary here. Eli Drake's still off, but everybody else is available. So let's go ahead and let's book the show. Alright guys, we are ready. It's kind of a weird show, I have to say. Not a go-home show. We're definitely setting up a lot of stuff. Didn't get everything I wanted on here, but overall, I'm pretty happy with what we have. Let's go ahead and start the show and see what ends up coming from it. We did get a couple warnings for some overuse for some wrestlers, but other than that, it seems like we'll be okay. So hopefully that doesn't penalize us too much. We start the show with the debut, in-ring debut of Alistair versus one of our enhancement talents that we brought over, Max Stardom, which we're going to keep him on the low end of the roster here. I just want to see what he could do. Got the show off to a strong start as a work-the-crowd match, and Alistair was very good in here with a 72. Was too short for an important match. So this is one of the new ratings that we're going to have to deal with, is that people that are important, that are like star or higher, shouldn't be in short matches. So that's a penalty that we're going to have to keep an eye out on, because it's something that's new for us. They're going to want longer matches. Because of the longer matches, we might move us back to a 2-hour power. Because if as a modern throwback, if every match is like 15 minutes minimum, we're not going to have a lot of time for story. So we might end up going to 2 hours again. We'll definitely see how that plays out. There's not, with this new format, there's not that much difference, other than actually it's a little bit less restrictive in some areas. But it does also want less, or it wants like a 60% match difference. So it wants a little bit more angles, longer matches. So it's kind of a different, weird balance we have to play with. But Alistair easily dispatches Max Stardom here. Gets a 72. Max had a 28 and did not debut his cocky gimmick very well. Gets us a 59 anyways, mostly from Alistair. After the fact, Alistair sits down and sits down cross-legged in the center of the ring. The lights dim down a little bit to be moody, and he speaks into a microphone. He says, "Someone in the back knows why I'm here. And it's not for gold, or fame, or fortune. Material possessions are irrelevant. They're temporary. They're fleeting obsessions to distract us from what matters more. Boden, you have a lot of nerve to reappear and show up here, to continue your antics. I wonder if your new sheep know how much of a fraud you are. Why don't you come out here and explain to the world the secrets we share?" There's a long, pregnant pause. Just absolute silence. Boden doesn't come out. Nobody seems to be coming out. Alistair smirks and talks into the mic again. He goes, "Yeah, I figured it wouldn't be that easy. Very well. If you insist on keeping the wool over their eyes, I will be forced to be the shears to cut it off." And with that, he leaves. It gets the crowd hotter. Seems like he has beef with Boden. We don't know why. This does very well. Gets us a boost on the Satori initiative storyline and gains heat for it. He gets a 58. Great signing for us. Going to do some pretty cool things with us here. And seems to be going against the Satori Institute for some reason. Seems personal. Speaking of personal, this segment does very bad because of everybody that's in it. I probably should just put everyone as not ranked and just put them in it, and that was my mistake, but oh well. Ricky Starks is in the parking garage, and he called a meeting with the Kingdom, minus Kingston. So Homicide, Leo Rush, and Tyree. They had clearly all had a discussion beforehand, and Ricky talks to Eddie through the camera. He goes, Eddie, I know I need to explain myself, but you know what? I really don't. You know, all these games, the running in circles, it's had us running down the drain. Look at these boys behind me here. They came to you because they were lost. They had no purpose. You promised them that you'd give them guidance. You'd give them victories. You were supposed to be their pan. Instead, you showed yourself as just another user, another person to hold them down. No longer. I'm asking you, and I'm asking them. The Lost Boys are no more here. We're all growing up. So it's going to be me or you. Who's with me? Shockingly, Homicide stands by him and kind of joins him up. Tyree stands on the sidelines looking unsure, but not necessarily not committed. And then Leo walks away. Stark sees Leo walk away, and there's a sense of disappointment. Why is Razor? Wait a second. Why is Razor in this? Well, that's probably part of the... It was supposed to be Ricky Starks. So, our Ricky Starks is being portrayed by Razor for some reason. No wonder we had such a poor rating. Well, Razor as portrayed... Ricky Starks as portrayed by Razor says, it doesn't matter, Eddie. We fight tonight, and I'm going to show them all that Neverland was just a lie. We got a hint of a face turn for Eddie. We're going to go through with it eventually, and I don't know, man. Yeah, that was a bummer. No, I was wondering why that rating was so bad, but putting Razor in there by accident was a real bummer. All right, well, at least Rio's here to boost ourselves up a little bit. Rio has a match with Deonna Purrazzo. It's solid. It's a 5-minute match with a jumping knee attack. She wins. Gets a 53. Deonna Purrazzo had a 35. It was too short, again, for the eyes of the audience. Again, we're running this penalty, so we're definitely going to have to move to a 2-hour power. It's going to be about the same. It's just going to be the matches are going to be longer. That's fine. We'll deal with it. 41, it's not bad. Probably would have been a little bit higher without this one, but we give Rio a win on the show. Very strong in-ring performer for us, actually, for that division, especially compared to Deonna Purrazzo here. So, very happy with that. After that, we got the Von Erichs. They are backstage lacing up their boots and talking to the screen. And Marshall's the one talking. He kind of goes over and says, hey, listen, it feels good to be champions again. But it's not enough to just hold the belt. We're looking to prove our legacy is proud and strong. And that means allowing the best challengers to face us at every opportunity. There is a strong tag team division here. And I'm hoping more tag teams will join us soon. That's why we talked to Mr. Jarrett, and next week, he's allowing an elimination challenge. Any team that wants in can compete, and the winner will face us at Spring Stampede. And we hope the best team wins. So, trying to be kind of fighting champions here. We've kind of let the tag team division fall to the wayside a little bit as the Enzo and Cass story was kind of happening. So this is just sort of a way to find somebody to challenge them and kind of go through with that. Gets us a 44. It's nothing to talk about. I wanted to see what the combination of these wrestlers were doing and see how they did. So we had Heidi Lovelace, Thunder Rosa, Delilah Doom, and Thea Trinidad. It's extremely short, though. Again, we're getting penalties for this. Heidi Lovelace defeated Thunder Rosa, Delilah Doom, and Thea Trinidad after pinning Delilah Doom. And in terms of in-ring work, Thea Trinidad was head above everybody else. Certainly was. 57. Heidi had a 47. Thunder had a 38. And Delilah had a 31. We're definitely seeing where our new talent is performing. Heidi, I feel like, should be higher. But, you know, that might be a mix of the popularity. That's certainly fine. Got the crowd buzzing. Getting better at their gimmicks. Unfortunately, though, the segment got the penalties. And we are at a 38 here, which is not great. But we definitely see where our talent is improving here. Thunder Rosa was one of our betters, and now is kind of looking outclassed. We got Boden and crew backstage watching the monitors as they review the words of Alistair. The normally calm and composed Boden looks frazzled right now. Nick sees it and kind of inquires to him and goes, Who is that guy? I've never seen you this way. Boden tries to collect his thoughts and says, he's a nobody. He's a failed student. He wasn't able to learn about the powers we possess, that harmony. It's not there for him. Just ignore him. He's nothing. Matt crosses in the corner, hearing them and looking concerned and seeming to contemplate action. So we might see Matt Cross go after Alistair to see if he can maybe put him down a little bit. Nick Aldis looked good out there. We advance the storyline, lose some heat a little bit from it, unfortunately. It gets us a 46. Oh boy, we're just having bad matches tonight. We got Gran Cosa de la Lucha versus Brendan, the Tate brothers, Brendan and Brent, as local workers. They come in and they lose very quickly. 5 minutes with the Laredo Kid. It was too short. Again, we're running into this this penalty, which is going to hurt us with this transition, unfortunately. So we're going to have to definitely, like I said, move that 2-hour mark and make sure that we are not making short matches. They got to be long. They have to be exciting. So a little bit of a change for us, but one for the better. Laredo had a 60. Samurai del Sol had a 51, and Tate Brothers had about like a high 30s each. Brendan and Brent had a really good chemistry. Not much to say about the match, just giving the Lucha Brothers here, the Lucha Things, a win here. Gets a 36, though, unfortunately. Laredo Kid looking very good out there. Afterwards, and after the match, Enzo and Cass come to the ring, clearly upset about their loss last week. Enzo grabs the mic. Big Cass is kind of, mimicking him behind him and goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Look at these flippy boys here. I think they got a little bit of an attitude, a little chip on their shoulder. I get it. I was a 205 boy myself. Champion, in fact. Enzo winks at the camera. But winning once against us proves nothing. And a win against Kit and Kat here ain't an accomplishment either. So let's put on a show, boyos. The Lucha Goons versus the realest guys in the room at Spring Stampede. What do you say? Obviously, Laredo Kid and Samurai del Sol accept. And Enzo and Cass are looking a little upset about that loss and seemingly wanting to maybe get a win over them and willing to put the titles on the line for it. So seeming very confident. This does very well. Enzo looked really good and was going off script and did very well. Had a benefit from just having that kind of positive catchphrase. And gets a 57. Not too bad. Backstage, we have a great characters moment here between Pillman and Jarrett. In Jeff Jarrett's office, Jarrett is pacing back and forth, while Pillman Jr. seems to have taken over Jarrett's seat behind the desk, sitting there very confidently with his boots on the table. Jarrett kind of tries to rationalize something with Pillman here and says, Brian, I don't think you are taking this seriously enough. You should be training for Joe right now, not in here. And I don't know how much I can do to stop him. And now you're pissing off Ace Austin? Why? He has an entire team of freaking losers as beck and call. I'm not paying Akam and Razor to protect you all from everybody. I'm paying them a lot of money right now. And they keep asking for more to protect you because of the stupid things you are doing. Pillman kind of scoffs at him, goes, Jeff, I got this. Austin's a nobody. This is a little twig. Who did he beat for his alliance title? That guy that hangs around, that weird little gremlin juggalo? He's nothing. And Joe, as long as we stick to the plan, I retain easy. I'm the best in the world right now, right? That's what this title means. And nothing's going to stop that. Jarrett gives a deep sigh. You're stretching it all too thin, Brian. I'm warning you. This is going to begin to be untenable. I want you as my champion, but you have to be careful. You have to think this through. Pillman doesn't want to hear it. Gets up, starts walking away, and slings the belt very aggressively over his shoulder. Just do your job, and he says as he walks away. Jarrett looking very pissed off at him. So, segment gets a 61. Jarrett, little concerned about Pillman's ego that's going on here. The fact that he seems to be... He's going insane, let's say. He's really becoming unhinged. And Jarrett is getting concerned that he won't be able to kind of protect him anymore. Pillman leaves that office and has a short match, again, very heavily penalized because we can't do squash matches on the show anymore. Pillman fights Dickie Mayer. It goes very poorly, 37. Very easily defeats Dickie Mayer with Tornado DDT, but, we got penalized pretty bad for that. After the fact, though, Samoa Joe saves us by coming out and brutally attacking Joe. Brutally attacking Pillman in the ring, really calling out that shot, getting the refs out to break them up, gets us a 74, a very solid segment there. And then for our main event, which is an underwhelming main event, unfortunately, Eddie Kingston is teamed up with Lio Rush as he faces his former friend Homicide and protege Ricky Starks. And in this match, Homicide and Ricky Starks defeat Eddie Kingston and Lio Rush after knocking Kingston out of the ring and then having a stoppage after Lio Rush is injured and could not continue the match. So it's kind of a way to write Lio off the show a little bit as the kingdom falls apart. And obviously Ty-Ray hasn't really picked the side. It seems like Homicide teaming up with Ricky against Eddie. Eddie has a 58 here. Ricky has a 41 or 51. Homicide has a 41, and Lio has a 41. Still hinting at that face turn, but getting a very poor reaction. So I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. We lose heat for our storyline and gets us a 44 here. Afterwards, Eddie and Ricky basically break down and fight. The whole kingdom starts fighting each other. Well, not really, because it's Homicide. Leo's injured at this point. But the whole thing breaks down. Ricky and Eddie clearly going at it and continuing a build-up for a feud here. We gain some heat for the segment. And again, Eddie Kingston's face turn hint not doing well. Ends the show it's a real mixed show, I'll say. Some high points, some low points. Definitely one that we need to address. That format has to change to get the best out of it. So I think we're going back to a 2-hour Power, boys. I think that'll work the best. But some interesting developments. That whole thing with Alistair and Boden seems interesting. I'm happy with where our women's division is building. as we start to kind of move away from the older roster into a better one. Overall, very happy with what's going on the show here. And I think once we make those adjustments and corrections, we'll have a much better show. Even with that, 56 ain't bad. It's weaker than where we were, but not by much. So, very happy with that. All right. Power went very well. Show was very good. That is good to hear. Anything happening in the news here that's important to us? And not really. New team between Roman Reigns, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford called the Round Table. Sure. We got our viewing figures of 0.05. We're growing just a little bit, which is nice. And overall, a pretty positive show, leading us to a go-home show for Power, and then the next day, Spring Stampede. So we got kind of a path there for us. Financials looking steady and healthy, which is nice. So overall, not a bad spot for us. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you next time.